football. Let's move on to Brazil, baby. And let's go south of the equator where the Kansas City Chiefs are taking on the LA Chargers. I feel like I'm going to start off with TD on this one. Who do you got, my friend? So the Kansas City Chiefs, who have also had their share of attrition on the offensive line, which was a weak unit last year. Sounds like Rashee Rice is going to be gone for the first 6 games of the season. That was official last week while I was out. And you have the LA Chargers with some recent additions. Maybe it works out. Maybe it doesn't. A top 5 defense last year, in scoring defense, that is. Who do you got?
I have the Chargers in this game. This is the year the Chargers will, make some noise. I'll just put it like that. They will go to the playoffs. They'll start the season putting everybody on notice, beating the Kansas City Chiefs. The Kansas City Chiefs have been on a decline as of late. It's just that their decline is at a turtle pace, but it's starting to catch up to them. I think that Patrick Mahomes is starting to regress year after year. Over the last 2 years have been 2 of his, probably on his resume from his career, his worst years. Still good, but his most unproductive years. And Harbaugh's going to have this team ready. Why am I so, bullish on the Chargers? Herbert's going to have his coming out season this year, in my opinion. I think that he's going to be an MVP candidate. He's not going to win it, but he is going to be a candidate at some point. This team is going to win a ton of games, 11 or 12 this year, and they're going to be a team to beat in the AFC. Look out for the Chargers. They're going to set the tone against Kansas City. Kansas City dealing with suspensions. Kansas City still dealing with how do they get over the hump of people figuring out what they love to used to do, and now a lot of teams run too high on them, so the big play is gone. They force Kansas City to be methodical, but you got to play mistake-free football when you play against Kansas City because that's what'll get you. They're going to be sound, they're coached well, and the Chargers have a coach that brings the same thing. So, yeah, man, I got the Chargers in this one.
Let me ask you something.
And putting up 35 points, too. On that great defense.
Your words, TD, is that the Chiefs have been showing signs of regression.
Patrick
Is there
Mahomes
signs
more
of regression, them going to the Super Bowl and not performing in the Super Bowl?
They're not going to the Super Bowl this year, Richie. They are not going to the Super Bowl.
Did I say anything about them going to the Super Bowl this year? All I'm asking is you said they're showing signs of regression, so I'm just wondering, they got bounced in the wild card round last year. Okay, maybe the divisional round, but they went to the Super Bowl. They were the AFC champions. So what did you see from the Chiefs last year that makes you think that there's a sign of regression? Because in my opinion, and I just know that everyone hops on this narrative, and I got to be the only one to defend them. I don't really care. But they exceeded everybody's expectations last year. Everybody said the same thing about the Kansas City Chiefs last year that they're saying this year. Nobody had Super Bowl aspirations for the Chiefs last year, right or wrong?
Well, that's correct, but there's a reason for that.
Did they not? Did everybody say the Chiefs are regressing this year and they're not going to be anything?
Yeah.
And what do? They went to the Super Bowl. So how is that a sign of regression? That's all I'm wondering.
First of all, there's a reason they went to the Super Bowl. Nobody considered, the reason why everybody was out on the Chiefs is because nobody considered the 12th and the 13th player. Okay? The referees, which we all should have considered, but even past that, Taylor Swift, man. Taylor Swift.
I guess we're not talking ball. You just proved my point. Thank you for proving my point.
But no. In all seriousness, though, Richie, I said that they're regressing, but lucky them, it's been at a turtle pace. They've been still getting to the Super Bowl, but it's looked uglier and uglier to get there. And then you get
going
blown
to the Super
out.
Bowl, man.
Then you get blown out into the
what
Super
are we
Bowl.
doing here?
Then you get blown out.
You guys
in the
with
Super
these
Bowl.
crazy takes makes me feel like I have to. It is what
It's
it is.
over for them, Richie. They will not go to the Super Bowl this year.
I heard that. Was that 3 years
Sometimes
in a row?
I wish that TD held the Dolphins to the same standards as he does with every other NFL team in the league.
I
do. It's like the Kansas City Chiefs, man. They made it to the Super Bowl and it was ugly, man. Hey, they made it,
That's
dude.
what I'm saying, bro.
Where's the line told?
Come on, man.
Thank you, man. It's
Come
ridiculous.
on. They had an easy ride. They had an easy path to the Super Bowl. They beat the Dolphins. They beat the team they always own in the Buffalo Bills. Come on, man. Who was the number 1 seed in the NFL?
The Chiefs.
Kansas City Chiefs.
The Chiefs. We always, just like I say, with Buffalo has an easy route with the division, the Chiefs always they have less games than everybody else to get there.
So we're just going to discredit them getting the number 1 seed because they played the best football in the league throughout the regular season?
I'm not discrediting them. All I'm saying to you is, and I know you've heard it before, and that's fair, Richie, but this year it comes to an end. They're not as great as people make them out to be anymore.
I just want to check you on that one thing you said of that they're showing signs of regression. I just could not disagree with that more, just because last year they exceeded everybody's expectations. So I don't know where the regression is.
And that's the funny thing about it. They did less and achieved more.
Mm-hmm.
Like the statistically and everything less and achieve more.
They don't care about stats. They care about wins.
So one thing I will side with TD on is like what Kansas City was able to accomplish last year was really almost unbelievable as far as the history of the NFL. Like they won an absurd amount of 1-score games by less than a field goal.
Yes.
You can attribute that to great coaching. You certainly can. However, there is a bit of luck, of course, associated with a statistic like that. Say that they did that 3 or 4 times, for sure. 3 or 4 times for sure, like that's great coaching. But when they did it double-digit times, you need to be able to attribute some sort of luck right into that equation, right? And I'm not saying that, like, of course, Chiefs fans, don't get up in arms on this. I still think you're going to beat the Chargers, of course. I just spoiler alerted my overall prediction here. While I see them beating the Chargers, I do see some issues with this team going into 2025, and it has everything to do with this. I have a rookie at left tackle right now with Josh Simmons. Okay, so that's something to look at. You have a second-year player right here, or maybe he was drafted this year, who knows, but he is a plug-and-play. Still have Creed Humphrey, one of the best centers in the NFL, and Trey Smith is also pretty quality, and some question marks with Jawan Taylor as well as your right tackle. Last year, tackle was the biggest issue for them, and now you have a big question mark with who your left guard is. I really think Patrick Mahomes is going to be seeing much of the same of last year. He's going to be running for his life. He's athletic enough to make plays, but I would not be surprised if, for example, this does bite them in the ass. I still see them winning the AFC West, of course, but I do see them taking a slight step back as far as their division and final record. Like once the playoffs are here, like that's an entire different conversation. As far as their game against the Chargers, while I have question marks surrounding their offensive line, this is not the defensive line that I'm really concerned about. And so I think that like once we watch that game, like we are all going to be like said, like, oh my God, maybe the Chiefs offensive line is not as bad as we think. But I'm not a big fan of course, with the Chargers pass rush at all. But you still have Hollywood Brown on the outside. I love that matchup, of course, with Cam Hart. I love Smith-Schuster against Still. And I also love Xavier Worthy against Jackson here from the LA Chargers by itself. This is going to be a typical boring Kansas City Chiefs game where Patrick Mahomes does death by 1,000 paper cuts. I don't see him testing their safety room in Gillum and, of course, with Derwin James. But I think Kansas City wins this game 28-14 is
35-21.
35-21 Chargers, you're saying?
What was the most points the Chargers put up last year offense? I feel like every game they won was low scoring. But listen, this is what I'm going to say, man, because listen, we're a few years in together of talking ball, and obviously I'm now known as a guy that says good things about the Chiefs, and I guess it pisses people off. I don't know why. But for the people that get upset when I have to defend the Chiefs, I don't want to be that guy, but have I been right or wrong about the Chiefs all these years?
You've been wrong.
I've been wrong?
No. No, right.
All I'm saying is I'm saying these good things about them because no one else will. And what I mean by being right about them is going as far as they're going in the playoffs and just talking about team success. All the other debates, throw that out. I'm just talking about everybody always discredits them and always like makes excuses for them. But if someone's got to defend a team that's been to the Super Bowl 5 times in the last 8 years and won 3 of them, it's got to be me. And if that makes me the villain and makes people upset about me, I'll keep doing it.
And then 4 times, Richie. They've scored 34 last year. They scored 40 last year. They scored 34 again. And one more time, 34.
Because I felt like their identity. I'm excited to see Ladd McConkey, man. I mean, this game's going to be great. I love that the first 2 games of the season are division matchups, NFC East and then AFC West. The Chargers are an intriguing team because you remember the narrative last year of the Chargers is like, oh, Harbaugh, like how good can they be in year 1? And I always was thinking they're probably going to be good in year 1, but year 2, I think the Chargers are going to be a force because it's always that second year with the coaching staff when they have a year underneath their belt. Man, the Chargers are one of those teams that I think can be that sneaky team that comes out of nowhere. And what I mean by come out of nowhere, I mean be a legit force. But we cannot forget the devastating injury that they suffered.
Mm-hmm.
Their left tackle's done for the year. One of the best left tackles in the league, Slater.
Yeah.
Their identity is the offensive line. Now, they got Joe Alt. They still got talent on that offensive line.
So they're moving Alt to left tackle, by the way.
They are. So Joe Alt's going to left tackle.
Yeah.
That would be like, that's not going to deter their season or anything, but what that does do is it takes away a big strength because Joe Alt at right tackle and Slater, who is a Pro Bowl level talent at left tackle, with their interior beefed up, that was going to literally like be crazy good, okay?
Yeah.
They brought in Mekhi Becton in free agency, who's going to help out that offensive line, of course. But that's a big injury that could not derail the season, of course, but again, it's taken away what could have been one of the best offensive lines in the entire NFL.
Yeah.
I think the Chargers are going to be good. I'm excited to see what Amari and Hampton looks like at running back. And it's going to be fun. And honestly, I could see the Chargers winning this game.
Yeah,
I do.
They are
Really?
going to win.